Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to ask and pray for what you want. Secret to wish fulfilled. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Big video today. I had a session with a client that said, Tom, I really don't know how to affirm. And how do I ask? How do I pray? And what's wish fulfilled supposed to feel like if I'm supposed to capture the feeling? Well, guys, we've talked about this before, but we're going to cover it and unpack it like we never have before. And here's the thing that we discovered as I was talking with her. When she thought of her desire, when she imagined it fulfilled or imagined the scene, she wasn't feeling the love of that desire. She wasn't feeling the love of that thought. She was feeling the fear of it. Whatever that was, whether it was frustration or waiting or impatience, she wasn't feeling imbuing that thought with love. So I want to hit this like we never have before. We're going to talk about Neville Goddard. We're going to talk about Gregg Braden, and we're going to really unpack this today. Feeling is the secret. Feeling is the prayer. All of the spiritual greats have said this, but what does that really mean? What is the secret? What is it supposed to feel like? And how do we ask God or the quantum field or that higher power or our higher self? How do we ask for what we want? Well, here's what Gregg Braden says. What we choose to experience in our lives, we must first feel in our hearts as if it has already happened. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this. Neville Goddard talks about this. Your chosen experience, in other words, your chosen experience of reality, you got to feel that now. It is when the thought, your desire, your idea, or intention is embodied with the feeling of fulfillment that God hears and answers your prayers. Right? It's not you affirming the words, right? It's not the words that matter. It's the feeling behind it. It's what those words invoke, the state within you, right? God doesn't hear the words. God doesn't hear the language. The language of God is what you feel in your heart, right? Remember, your heart feels and knows. That's how you communicate with God, through that feeling in that knowing, right? Not with just saying words or affirmations and asking God with words and affirmations and not feeling it and not knowing it within, right? Inner conviction and certainty within comes from the center of being, or in other words, your heart, right? That it's really, this is what Neville's getting at, that it's a conviction. It's an inner knowing. Right? That's what he means by the feeling of fulfillment. You're feeling it real. In other words, you're feeling the conviction. It's not about trying to conjure up positive emotion. It's okay. The positive emotion's great, but it's about the conviction that you are that person that you want to be, that you have that you were wanting to have, right? That you are already there, that it's done. Let's get it like we never have before. If you dare to assume you are what you want to be, your inner conviction, your feeling of certainty will bring it to pass. Neville Goddard, defining what the feeling of wish fulfilled feels like. It's an inner conviction. It's a feeling of certainty that it will come to pass. Of course, you'll be joyful. You'll feel motivated. You'll feel inspired. You'll feel good when you have that conviction. But it's the conviction, it's the certainty that we're getting at. That's the feeling. It's a knowing. I know that it's feeling the love for that desire, right? I know that the truth of any concept is known by the feeling of a certainty, right? A peculiar knowingness that it's true. A truth within, right? Feeling of wish fulfilled is a conviction and a knowing it is done. Your heart feels and knows. It's beyond doubt, because it's beyond belief. Hear this. It's beyond doubt because it's beyond belief, right? If you're doubting, you're not in wish fulfilled. You're not feeling the fulfillment because why? Fulfillment is the certainty. It's the feeling of conviction that imaginal scene is real to you, that it's done, that it's manifested within, That's what we're talking about, right? It's beyond doubt because it's beyond belief. This is big. You believe, remember, you believe what you feel within, right? We believe in our feelings. So when you're feeling that certainty, when you're feeling that knowing, then it is done, right? So let's hit this. Conception is my end. Neville got it. Occupy your desire. Feel its certainty and you'll prophesize its fulfillment. Neville got it. So you have your desire, your concept, your thought, right? This is where you assume, you imagine in your body and you occupy it. Then there's the conception. That's the inner fulfillment. That's the inner manifestation. That's the knowing that it's done. Then there's the time from the conception to the 3D manifestation. Do you see the two time frames he's talking about? Quote, in linear time, but really, remember, there is no time. So from the desire to the conception is purely based on your conviction, right? Can you get to the conviction? Can you feel it real? Can you feel the certainty of it? When you do, it's done. That's conception. Then there's a time from conception to 3D manifestation. This is where you're allowing, you're receiving, you're expecting it with confident expectation. It's a knowing, right? With the desire here, you're imagining, you're assuming, you're embodying to the point of conviction, to the point of feeling it real, right? To the point of knowing. And this is what he quotes this in Scripture. For the vision is yet for the appointed time. It hastens toward the goal, and it will not fail. Though it delays, wait for it will certainly come. It will not delay. He uses a different version, right? That in its appointed hour, it will flower, right? But the point is here, guys, that the time from the desire to the conception is the time that it takes for you to feel it real, to feel the conviction, to feel the certainty of it that it's done, as you claim it, as you imagine it. Then there's the time from the conception to the 3D manifestation. This is where you're allowing, this is where you're in the Sabbath, right? You're receiving, you're expecting it, you're knowing it. That's powerful. So let's get it to a little bit more. The Lost Gospel of Thomas, which I've talked to in several videos now, I want to bring it back up again so we can take a deeper look at it. This is the teachings of Greg Braden as well. The Lost Gospel of Thomas sets forth the secret of feeling, joining thought, your concept, your idea, your desire with the feeling. Feeling is the language of prayer, to communicate with the quantum field of the divine matrix. This is what Greg Braden often says. But that is the key. That's what Neville was getting at. That is the secret. That's why feeling is the secret, or feeling is the prayer. That's how you pray to God. That's how God hears you. That's how God understands you, through the feeling. It's not through the words. Words can be powerful because they can convey a feeling. They can conjure a feeling. They can conjure a state. But it's the feeling within to communicate with that quantum field, or God, or divine matrix. There were two verses where Jesus speaks of the importance of unifying heart and mind with feeling and thought in the Gospel of Thomas. These are said to be attributed to the teachings of Jesus, right? And then Braden also talks about two Bible verses that were removed or edited from the present day version of the Bible. These were the 4th century edits. We're going to talk about those today. The how is revealed. This is what Greg Braden says, the how. How do you feel it real? How do you feel that wish fulfilled? It reveals the how. So let's hit it today. So the secret passed down from the ancients is this. Feeling is the prayer, and you must feel as if your prayers have already been answered. Neville got it, Greg Braden, Dr. Joe Dispenza, they all talk about this, right? Feeling is the prayer. You must feel as if your prayers have already been answered. That's the secret, right? The Gospel of Thomas, verse 106, it talks about this unity between heart and mind, or thought and emotion, or thought and feeling. When you make the two, thought and emotion, one, you will say to the mountain, go away, and it will go. Here, Jesus is pointing to unifying heart and mind, or thought and emotion, right? Imbuing that thought with love, not fear, right? Not doubt, not frustration, not wondering if it's coming, not the mode of waiting. And then you shift realities, right? You move into a new reality where the mountain is not there, right? Also talking about shifting realities, taking a quantum leap here. Right? It becomes, remember, that when thought and emotion join, a thought and feeling, it becomes one single potent force, as Greg Braden says. One single potent force. Verse 48, also talking about the same thing. If two make peace with each other in a single house, if the thought and feeling, the thought and emotion become one, they make peace in a single house. In other words, within you, within your state of consciousness, within your mind, they'll say to the mountain, go away, and it will move. Again, talking about shifting to the reality where your wish is already fulfilled, where the reality where you're already that person that you wanted to be, where you're already living that desire. You're now in a version of yourself where the mountain is moved, where you're living the life that you desire, right? That's big. So to ask, we must speak to the field, to the divine matrix or God, in the language that the field recognizes. Greg Braden. The language, what's the language? The language is feeling, right? Feeling it all, your prayers already answered. That's what it's talking about. In our heart, this is what Greg Braden continues to say, in our heart we have a feeling that creates electrical and magnetic waves. He talks about the idea of electrical and magnetic waves, right? Your thoughts are electric. Your heart is magnetic and electric. And these join, right, to attract the life that you want. But what's really happening? You're moving to the reality within where all your dreams have already come true, right? So when you create the feeling in your heart as if your prayer is already answered, that creates the electrical and magnetic waves that brings the answer to you. Greg Braden, pointing to quantum physics, quantum science, right? And then the Bible. Ask and you shall receive. Remember, this is the famous John 16:23 through 24. Ask and you shall receive. But what does Greg Braden point out? That the current day version has been edited. It's an edited version. It's a reduced version, right? We're going to look at the two missing sentences that shows you how to ask or how to feel it, right? This is how to ask God. How to affirm, right? Which is my client's question. How do I affirm? How do I ask? How do I pray? These two sentences that were missing from that were edited out in the 4th century reveal it. We're going to see it today. So the original Aramaic retranslated missing sentences. All things that you ask, here's the whole verse, but I'm going to point out the missing sentences. All things that you ask. This is the translated original version in the original language with the missing sentences. All things that you ask straightly, directly from inside my name. I like this. It's a little different than the present day version. Straightly, directly, from inside my name. In other words, from within that I am. From you going within to your I am. Within my name is I am. It's my name forever and ever. That's God's name. That's your name. That's the name. This is what Jesus was pointing to. You will be given. All things you ask straightly, directly from inside my name, you will be given. So far you have not done this. What's Jesus pointing to here? Meaning you haven't done this. You're asking from a place with words. You're asking out of needing something or wanting something to be different. You're asking from looking at your old reality and saying, I don't want that anymore. I want to get rid of it. I want to make changes. You're asking from lack and you're asking from fear. You're not asking from love. You're not asking from inside the name of your true being, I am. Because I am, the true you, is love. Right? So this is what Jesus was getting at. So far you've not done this, right? And here are the missing edits. Here are the sentences that were edited out in the 4th century that tell you how to ask, right? Ask without hidden motive. Big. Ask without hidden motive. In other words, ask without judgment. Ask without attachment to the outcome. Ask without the fear of ending up with what you don't want. Or ask without the fear that you think you're not going to get it. Ask without all of that, without hidden motive. Remember when I pointed out in earlier videos where Braden was in a non-medical hospital in China where they were chanting and they saw a tumor in this woman, and they didn't judge it. They had compassion for that reality. And then they called forth the reality that they wanted, the reality that was without the tumor, right? It's you not judging your old reality, but just calling forth what you want, asking for what you want without the judgment, without the attachment, right? Then it says here, this is big, and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be fulfillment. Wow! Surrounded by your answer, embodied by your answer, enveloped by what you desire. It's not talking about speaking words or affirmations. It's talking about being surrounded and enveloped by your wish already fulfilled. It's talking about feeling it as if. When you're surrounded by your desire, when you're surrounded by the answer, your answered prayer, you're feeling as if it's already answered. When you're enveloped by what you desire, you're embodying that desire. You're embodying that wish fulfilled. That's big. This is the big piece that I was missing. Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be full. Wow. Powerful. So what's the key? It's feeling the love of your thought. Thought plus feeling of love is the emotion. That creates the unity with that quantum field, with your new life, with your new desire, right? With the new version of yourself. Now you're talking to God. Now you're communicating in God's language. Because remember, God feels and knows, right? Ask without hidden motive, without judging the unwanted. Ask from the heart. Be surrounded. Feel as if. Be enveloped. Embody your desire. Feeling without attachment and judgment, and feeling from the end. This was a big thing that came up in this session, in many sessions, that we're asking, we're imagining, we think we're occupying the state of wish fulfilled, but we're feeling attached to the outcome. We're feeling the inflated importance of it needing to happen. In other words, we're not asking without hidden motive, right? Jesus gave us the key here. The scripture told us what to do. The ancients gave us the answer. Stop judging. Stop asking from that place of lack and from that place of need, right? Be surrounded. Feel as if it's already yours. Be enveloped. Embody your desire. That's how to ask and pray for what you want. That is the secret to wish fulfilled. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. We are also on Facebook. We have a group called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors. Everybody can join that group. It's an open group, but then it's closed to the public. So you can be added and join it, and then it's closed, meaning your comments and your feedback and your posts are not shared with the public who are not members of the group. So you can ask for feedback and guidance, or you can give feedback and guidance. That's at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. The organization also has a Facebook page at Be Something Wonderful, and that's growing. And also we have Instagram and Twitter at Tom Karen, or just go to our website anytime for all that information and more at tomkaren.com or besomethingwonderful.com. With great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, creators, see you soon.